Welcome to Covington Creek at Home. I'm Sally. Today's Super Saturday recipe is going to be Thai carrot cake.
Not carrot cake, carrot soup.
Some of this. And one thing that I found is that with the first batch that I canned, I had it a little bit too thick. So for the second batch, I added in extra spices and I added in more vegetable broth. You can use the broth of your choice. I just like either the chicken broth or the vegetable broth, and I do prefer the vegetable broth between those two. It turned out to be delicious. You can add the spices to whatever your taste is. I did put in extra ginger, and next time I think I'm going to try and have the fresh ginger where I can grate it. But I hope you enjoy the video and let me know what you think. Just to give you an idea of what 6 pounds of carrots looks like, this is what 6 pounds of carrots look like. I got them at Costco. They are the Cal Organic. And I paid $4.39 for the 6 pounds. I looked at the baby cut ones since they were already peeled. Those were almost $6 for 2 pounds. So I went with this choice. I'm going to get them washed up. I'll get them peeled, and then I will get them diced for the soup. Trying to get a good view of the onions and the carrots already chopped up. I can't get a good one of the onions already in the pot, and it's a pretty deep pot. But this is what 6 pounds of carrots looks like. So I'm going to get it in the bigger pot. We will get the broth in, and I will bring you guys. So here goes the 3 32-ounce containers of vegetable broth. I'm hoping to have my own made for next year, at least some anyway. Okay, this is going slow. I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so I got the broth in there. So it has got 3 tablespoons of minced or crushed garlic in it. It has got, I used 2 large onions versus where it called for 3 onions. These were really big onions. And then the 6 pounds of carrots is in that. And what I'm going to do is let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And then I will get out my immersion blender and just, puree it. And then I will add in the soy sauce, or you could use tamari sauce, which is a wheat-free soy sauce. And I don't have the fresh ginger. I do have the ground or the powdered ginger. And rule of thumb is for every tablespoon of fresh grated ginger, it is 1/4 teaspoon of the powdered ginger, or the spiced like that. Ginger to go into it. And I'm not going to put cilantro in it, which the recipe calls for, because I don't like cilantro. But I'm also going to put some turmeric in it, or turmeric, and that's going to be in a powder also. And I wanted to show you guys, this is the skins where I peeled the carrots. It's got my onion skins. It's got the garlic skins in here. This is going to go in the freezer, and later on when I get enough, I will be making some vegetable broth with it. And I will do a video on that too. So right now I just have this at the 2. We'll see how warm this gets with this big a pot. I've never had this one on it before. So we'll just see what happens. And I will see you guys in about 30 minutes or so. Okay, so I actually had to turn this up just a little bit in order to get the carrots done. And they cooked for actually about 40 minutes. But what I'm going to do is take my immersion and just kind of puree this up. Okay, it's going to take longer than I thought, so what I'm going to do is take this back out. I'll get this blended up and then I'll show you what happens next. Okay, so I ended up getting out my Vitamix blender and using it to mix to puree this, because this is like a triple batch and it would have taken forever to do it. So this did it within a couple of minutes at the most on it. So what I did was I wanted to thin this out a little bit more. So I did add in probably about a cup more of vegetable broth, and I put it in the blender first so that it would help rinse out the blender just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is put the spices in it first before I add the soup back into it. So let me grab my recipe real quick here so I can have exact amounts. So this calls for, it's going to be it would have been 3 tablespoons of peeled minced fresh ginger, fresh minced ginger, which I don't have. So I'm going to do, whoops, that one, not this one, 3 quarter teaspoons of ginger. And you can always, whenever you open up a jar of this, you can always add more if you need more spice to it. 2, 3. Okay. And then it calls for, it's going to be actually about 9 tablespoons of the soy sauce. And I think what I might do after I get this in, and I put a little bit of the soup back in, is use my immersion blender to help mix that up. So 1, 2, should have had this measured out, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to put the turmeric in. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of that. So we'll give it a little bit of an immunity boost here. And I will add in, sorry folks, I've got to go get some more turmeric. Okay, so I will wash out that other jar and refill it just because it's handy to keep around. Whoop. A little bit more. Come on. Whoop. Okay, a lot more. And you can't have too much of this in it. And then it is going to be, get the lid back on this one, just to help rinse this out. I did 6. Oh, jeez. I'm doing really good tonight, folks. I'm sorry. 6 or 7, 8, and 9. So if the rest of the night goes better. So let me just rinse this off, dry it off, and then we will get to the peanut butter. And I do have a smooth peanut butter. It is Kirkland Organic. I got it out at Costco, and I'll tell you, it's been a while since I have had natural peanut butter, and I had to stir it up really well. And you know what? I wanted to show you guys something real quick here. If I can do this without losing my tablespoon. Now let's put the peanut butter in first. And it is going to be 2 to 3 tablespoons, so that means it's going to be 6 to 9 tablespoons for me. 1, 2, I didn't get that stirred up very well, did I? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you can tell, these are rough guesstimates here. 8, and 9. And I'm just realizing that this is my half of a tablespoon. It's not the full tablespoon measurement, so I'm going to put a little bit of extra in this. I'm glad I got extra in on the turmeric. Just do 1 more. That should pretty much even it out. Over here, And what I wanted to show you guys is, and a lot of people, I didn't realize, didn't know this, but this lining that comes with a lot of the things like peanut butter, these were actually made to go down inside the lid. And it helps to create that seal on your product. So just a little lesson, just a little knowledge there. Let me wash my hands off real quick. And do a little dash of ginger into it since that wasn't the right measurement. As you can tell, this is not exact cooking. It is good cooking. It always turns out. You get this stuff back here out of the way. Let me get my immersion blender here. This will help mix up that. And this is still hot, by the way, or warm. Okay, that did really well. So what I'm going to do is just put quite a few scoops in here, and then I'll use the blender again to help mix that up. But you don't want really thick soup if you're going to pressure can it, because the heat needs to circulate. That's why you should never totally pack really firm if you're canning meat, something that's dense, because you want that to be able to heat up all the way through. This is really hot. It is like steaming hot. So I can go ahead and get this done off camera. You can smell the peanut butter. I'll get the rest of this done off camera. I'm going to let it cook just a little bit longer so that it can mix some, and then I've got my canner out. I'll get the jars over here so that I can fill them over here and put them in over there. And it will be, I'll heat the jars up because the soup is hot. You never want to put something, a warm food product into a cold jar, because it can cause the jars to crack, especially whenever you put it into that canner with the heat from the canner. Same thing with, if you've got a cold food, don't put it into a hot jar. You want to put it into a cold jar. And we have to do pressure canning because this is not acidic enough to do, has a water bath canning. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the jars are hot, the soup is hot. I have got my insert soaking in warm water. Theoretically, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm old school though, and I go ahead and do that. I don't have my lid lifter here, so I'm going to use a fork to try and help lift those out if it's too hot. I also have some white vinegar paper towel here to wipe the rings off, and I've got my debubbler here too. And before anybody says anything, I just wanted to let you know that where I had the soup in the orange plastic bowl, I don't normally use plastic. That is actually our popcorn bowl, but it was in a pinch and I grabbed it, and the soup wasn't going to be in it that long. So I'm going to give this a good stir here. It smells so good. You can just smell that peanut butter. Oh my gosh, guys. And I think it's going to be a good consistency. I am going to make a mess. That's one of the nice things about a porcelain top is it's easy to clean. And you want to go to about 1 inch headspace with this, which is actually this bottom ring here. Now normally you shouldn't have any air bubbles with it being a liquid like this, but it's always a good idea to just go ahead and stir it. I'll get these 3 done, and then I'll do the other 5 off camera. And just so you know, for each pint, that is approximately 2 cups of soup. So I've got 8 jars. That means I'm going to get 16 meals because I usually eat about a cup and then I try and have a sandwich or a salad with it. Where we have it has like a first course. I love the soup, and whenever I get through getting these into the canner, I will show you guys another way to store this soup. Let's get this off. I'm going to debubble. Everything was thoroughly washed before I started. Washed my hands before I started this part of it, well, any part of it. So definitely no air bubbles. And I'm going to just take my handy dandy paper towel. Some people use a cloth, I don't. When I used to make candles, I used a lot of paper towels, and I've got a lot in stock. Okay, so let's just take this. When you put the lid on, center it, and then just use your fingers and just do finger tight. You don't want to over tighten it. And that's all there is to it. I will get the rest of this stuff done off camera. So I got the jars and the lid on. I did check to make sure that everything was in working order. I made sure that this little thing would move up and down, that the pipe was clear and clean, and the way you do that is hold it up to a light or the daylight. Take a look through it. You should have a clear view through it. If it looks like it's really narrow, take a pipe cleaner and run it through it, and that will clean it out. And I do that after every use for this, and especially if I'm doing meat, because for some reason with meat, or if I'm cleaning meat, like something with greens in it, that seems to accumulate on there. Then I also check to make sure that this little pressure button back there is working, that it would, not working, but that it would twist around, that it wasn't stuck. This is really rolling for me on my stove. I can have it at like 7.5, and that will bring it up to pressure. Once it gets to pressure, this will pop up. I will let this vent for like 10 minutes, and then I will put my weights on it. And for mine, I only need 1 weight on it. This is the weights on it. Check your altitude, see what it is that you should be using, and use the appropriate weights on it. It comes with 2 of those weights. Without it, it's like 5 pounds. This is 10 pounds, and then with the second weight, it is 15 pounds on it. For pints, they process once this comes up to pressure. I get this on it. The little weight starts to rock back and forth. Then I start my timing. For pints, it is 40 minutes. For quarts, it is 15 minutes to process it. And whenever I get to that point, I will bring you guys back. I wanted to show you another way that I kind of store the soups and foods that I prepare. I freeze a lot of this stuff. And this is super cubes, and I just absolutely love these things. These are 1 cup. These are a 2 cup. They have got the lines in the middle where you can do like a 1/2 cup or 1 cup. Same thing over there. It's on these ends in the center for the 1 cup, and then the 2 cup marks. They've got lids that go on them. You just pop them in the freezer, and then you can take them out and put them in plastic bags like I do here. This really works for me. These are black beans that I made and that I had frozen. That way I know exactly what the measurements are whenever I want to take it out and use it. Maybe I just want it for something simple, or if you've got family that doesn't want to eat what you've prepared, they can go to the freezer and just get out what it is that they want. This is the soup that was left over. I got 4 1-cup servings and 2 2-cup servings. These will go into the freezer after they cool off just a little bit more. One thing that I didn't mention with this recipe is that it does call for rice, and you can leave that out if you want to, or if you want the extra nutrients and the texture and the taste, you can go ahead and put those in. I could have done that for freezing. I don't can with rice in any dish. So after I take it out and either defrost this or open a jar of the canned, I will put some cooked rice in it. And we are up to pressure, so I am turning mine down. I can go down to about 4.5 and keep the same rhythm with the weights on it. And actually, it started a couple minutes ago. I've already got my timer going for the 40 minutes with it. And I probably won't bring you back whenever this time's out. But what I will do is I'll turn off the heat at the end of the 40 minutes. I will wait until this drops down, and then it's safe to take the weight off. You let it vent for 10 minutes, and then you can try and take the lid off. If you need any kind of row resistance, don't do it. Let it cool off a little bit more. Okay, so this has dropped down, and I took the weight off. It's been 10 minutes for that. So let's see about opening it here. And what you want to do is always pull up like that, because see the hot steam that's coming out? You do not want that on you. And let me see about putting this over here. Set it down here for a minute. To get it so that it's do that for just a minute. I'm going to wait 5 minutes, let it get its atmospheric pressure. It looks like I may have lost some of the soup out of the jars, but we'll wait, take it out in 5 minutes. Okay, so let's get these jars out and see how they did. Yeah, one's looking pretty good. I did lose some, it looks like, in there. That one had some siphoning too. As long as the jars are more than 50% filled, it'll be safe to eat or safe to keep. It looks like it's actually still bubbling in there on it. I used a combination. Some of these are Denali lids. Some are ball lids that I had. And that one had some siphoning too. Let's see here. Looks like they all had at least a little bit. But I'm not going to complain because there is still plenty in there to eat. And if I can get this here. This way just a little bit. Now this one, the ring was really loose on. So I don't know if it's the fault of the ring, because it was one that I had used for meat. So if it didn't seal well, I'm going to have to rearrange. Ooh, nice and warm, these. But I think they look pretty darn good, and they will be really good this winter. I can get these lined up. So this is it. They will set here for 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours. Then I will take the rings off, wash them, make sure that all of them have sealed, of course. And once the jars are washed, they will go on the storage shelf. Hope that you guys have learned something from this and have enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to make this again. I may make it a little bit thinner next time. I don't know, excuse me, about that. But everybody take care, and I will see you on the next Super Saturday. So this is the final product. It looks so yummy. I can't wait to come home on a cold winter's day and just open one of these jars of Thai carrot soup. I will post the recipe down in the description for it. I hope that you will give it a try if you like carrot soup. This would also be a good basis if you were going to make a vegetable soup with it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.